All right. Are we on? Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Witches and Wine. This is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine. Clink and drink. Clink and drink. Clink and drink. I am your hostess with the mostest, Lola Stardust. And right here next to me is the love of my life, my dear husband and religious partner.
Good with the words again, huh?
I've had a little bit of wine. My working partner and my husband, Silent as Stardust, he's going to tell us about the wine that we're drinking tonight. So go ahead, honey.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Tonight we're going back to Bordeaux. As you see a lot of episodes, we really like Bordeaux around here. This is the Chateau Roquevielle. It is a Merlot dominant Bordeaux, 70% Merlot, 15% Cabernet Sauv, 15% Cab Franc. Very, very earthy and with some cherry notes coming through.
Cherry.
Runs about between $15 and $25 a bottle.
That's good.
Very elegant, but if you don't like earthy wines, stay away from this one because you definitely can taste the dirt.
Yeah. So you taste the dirt.
Yes.
The dirt and the cherries.
But I'm going to go ahead and step out now, and Islene's going to come in and join me and be our side co-host. And away we go.
Yep, here comes Islene. She's my co-host. Hello.
Hello.
Alrighty, so
What about what they're drinking?
would you like to talk about what you're drinking this evening? Wine. It's what's for dinner.
So the last time we were here, we shared a wonderful box of Franzia. Today, we have wine in a glass bottle.
Oh, good. Yeah, you're
So
stepping on up.
This is Honeywood Winery's elderberry wine.
Ooh.
It has hints of Mogan David. And
What?
Mad Dog.
Oh.
And tastes like a berry that's been left in the sun and not much more. Though it says it's 11% alcohol,
Tell us
I find it very
feel.
juice-like.
How's it taste? Do you like the taste? Does that taste good?
Delicious.
It tastes like high school.
Yeah.
Tastes like
Tastes
high
like-
school.
That Boone's from.
Is that Boone's? What do you
So it tastes like a headache in the morning.
Headache in the morning wine.
There's a slight astringentness to the juice, and that's about it.
So we're not big drinkers.
Unless you're at our place.
Well, no, we're not big drinkers. That's how.
Oh.
So we do not have lots and lots of wine sitting around, but people do bring us these awesome wines, and they find them, elderberry wine. I think I actually bought this one because it was elderberry wine. Oh my!
Yeah.
And it's been here for years, so we thought we'd open it up.
Well, you know that we are the wine connoisseurs of the Northwest, or at least in the Spokane area. This coven is very proud of our wine knowledge, our wine intake, but not so proud of the after effects. So, but you know what? It comes with the territory, and that is witches and wine for you. So I want to introduce these beautiful people on our show here. This is Dusty and Bella. Can you please introduce yourselves real quick and tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am Belladonna LaVeau, the archpriestess of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church, matriarch of the tradition.
And my name is Dusty Dionne. I'm the high priest of the Aquarian Tabernacle Mother Church and the high summoner of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church International. I also do a lot of the marketing. You wouldn't know by me sitting on video and drinking box wine. But yeah, that's us. And we're repeat guests, which is awesome because
Yes,
it's a great show.
I know
Yeah.
that we had these two on live sitting in our living room, and boy, that was a lot of fun. And we got to find out a lot about each other. We got to find out how much wine one can take. We got
And the fine line between enough and too much.
and too much, yes. But there's
That-
it's a good time on witches and wine. It's always a good time on witches and wine.
That's a good drink.
Tagline.
Find out. Just say this is the fine. Clink and drink.
Drink and drink. You'd have no clinker.
I got no drink.
She has no drink. We have a studio audience here, our coven members and friends, and all right. So
Hey.
they say hi to everybody. So let's jump right in. What we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about spring mysteries. This is the spring mysteries is it is.
You can't talk about it.
I know I can't talk about it, but I can tell you it is something put on by the ATC every year, Easter weekend, and it is a spiritual experience that, hence why it's a mystery. You have to just go through it to experience it. But I would like, can Dusty or Bella tell us? Sorry, my dog is trying to jump up on my lap. Can either one of you just kind of explain how it started? Well, let's talk about what is Spring Mysteries. What is it? The Eleusinian recreation.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Oh,
Why
gosh.
can't you talk about it? Like what happened that made it so that you're not allowed to say anything?
Okay. Well, because I'm the host, I'm not the person being interviewed. I don't want to take over the show. So, I mean, I'm good
I
at.
thought you would talk about the oath.
Well, okay,
it's
so
oath.
all right, there's an oath that you take, and you are to go through the spring mysteries and experience these spiritual happenings, passion plays, if you will, that will teach you the mysteries of the underworld and being reborn. And I just don't know how much I can say here, so I'm really trying. I'm trying to be vague, but not too vague. It's hard to explain, but you have to go through it. You have to go through the different levels. It is not a official initiatory path, but it's
an initiatory experience.
It's an initiatory experience, and
It's called controlled triggering.
it's what?
A controlled triggering.
Yes, there you go. And I highly suggest anyone, whether you're new to your craft, whether you're questioning your craft, whether you have been the big boss witch for 50 years and you've never been to one of these, I highly suggest you go, because it can change your life and it can change how you look at how you worship and yourself. It teaches you so many lessons about yourself. But this is from someone who's only gone 5 times. I mean, you guys have been doing this, so.
So Spring Mysteries is the continuation of the ancient rites of Eleusis from Greece. It's the oldest pilgrimage in the world. It stretches back even further back than Mecca. So it's a pagan pilgrimage, not a Christian pilgrimage. It's the original pilgrimage, and it tells the story of Demeter and the Holy Daughter and the wheel of the year, how we received the seasons from the gods. It is a calling of the ATC to continue these mysteries from the ancient times. We have been doing them. This is the 34th year. It's the ATC's 40th anniversary as an institution, 40 years as the ATC. 34 is carrying on Spring Mysteries, and the goddess charged us with this work. So we kind of just agree to do it, and then she drives the train. She tells us what she wants said. We learn new things every year. I ran up and down the stairs today as we're working out a new script based on the Wendy Rule coming this year. She is releasing her new album, Persephone. She contacted me earlier in the year and asked if she could do it at Spring Mysteries. And I was thrilled.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's really exciting. So we are rewriting the script around like between Homer and Ovid and what Wendy's done, and then the way that we've been doing it, and it evolves.
The message is the same. The message never changes because the story never
story's
changes.
the same.
It's just how it's presented.
How you doing today can be said a lot of different ways. So we have been adapting the script, and we learn new things every year as the goddess reveals more and more of her mysteries to us.
Yeah.
So it is a originally it was a 10-day event.
Whoa,
that
wait. 10 days?
Originally in ancient Greece, it was a 10-day.
Okay.
You take a year's worth of salary to go to the mystery.
Yeah.
But here it's 4 days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, over Easter weekend. You get there Thursday, you leave on Sunday, and it is 4 days of rituals where you experience the Halidai Mysti, the lesser mysteries, the greater mysteries, and the rites of Eleusis as close as we can come to it, with 34 years of scholars and spiritual revelation, personal gnosis, and just doing it. 34 years of it. We have built this iconic continuation of Eleusis and brought it back to Earth. And I'm really excited to get to be a part of it, because I've been studying the rites of Eleusis all my life. I did it on the East Coast before I became the Archpriestess, and Pete invited me to come to see the mysteries. And I saw them one time, and I was like, oh my God, this. Oh my God.
All of
this.
It.
So, yes, this, the goddess's mysteries. This is so much better than I could do. It's so much better than any of us could do. It's the goddess's mysteries, and it's a wonder of the pagan world that it exists. And yeah, if you're pagan, you owe it to yourself to come see it.
Is there any other organization or any other festival that does this, that recreates this, or is ATC it?
Well, the Church of All Worlds, and people have touched on the mysteries. You know, the descent of Persephone as a Easter or a Mabon ritual. The mythologies are there. People do touch on the mysteries. But to have the mysteries on the earth with the goddess driving them the way she does spring mysteries, no. Oberon Zell is the person who had been doing the Church of All Worlds, had been doing them. And when you talk to him, he would be like, yeah, we've done that. And so we brought him out to Spring Mysteries, because we're like, I don't think you've done this, Oberon.
Yeah.
And so he got there and he was like, oh my goodness, you can't tell somebody this exists. You absolutely have to experience. And I think that's one of the reasons that it's oath-bound. You cannot speak. We don't have language powerful, big enough, impactful enough to say, this is what's happening. You have to go.
He said, oh, we did the story, but it was nothing like this.
You can do the story, but you guys capture the spirit and the experience. The experiences. And I feel that the way you set it up is not just about the rituals, but like we were saying before we started recording, there is so many great experiences, meeting people, the stuff that happens in between. And that, I feel, is just, I mean, having us, can I tell you just from personal experience, we've had the option to stay with someone in their cabins. They get the nice cabins. But I love the family feel of the barracks. We stay in the barracks, we stay in these halls, and you have like it's almost like your dorm mates or your college roommates but it's beyond that. And
sisters and brothers.
Yes, you form bonds with these people, and it's like you go through an experience together, and it's not always fluffy bunnies and rainbows. There are people that break down and have real emotional experiences, and we are all there as a family to help them get through it. To me, that, I mean, I have goosebumps just talking about it. That
I'm
one of
tearing up.
favorite experiences is going through this with other people, and just having that. And am I making you cry, or are you channeling God in?
Oh, it's touching to me. You know,
Yeah.
it is such an honor to get to be a priestess of the goddesses mysteries and to hear you talk about experience like that. It's really important. We put a ton of love and work and blood and sweat and tears and man hours and money and fighting the government to let us use the property,
Oh yeah.
and you know, calling lawyers and senators and congressmen, all kinds of things. And it's so, it means the world to us that that's how you feel about it.
You
Well,
want to hear an anecdote about last year? So last year we decided that in true Grecian fashion, as Prometheus handed down, we would make a sacrifice to the gods. Now, the way that you make a sacrifice to the gods is you keep the meat, you cook the meat, you keep the meat, and you give the bones and the fat to the fire, to the gods. Okay? So we decided that at a friend of ours' house, she lives in Edmonds, overlooking the Sound. It looks like Greece from where she's at.
Yeah.
That we would have this pig roast. So we have this pig roast because pigs are sacred to Demeter. And we all eat the pig, and when it's done, we take these bones and we take the fat and we tell the gods, we're here for you. We are here to give you energy so that you can give energy back to the people. And we're going to be here for you. Thank you for giving us the honor of doing this work for 30 plus years. Please accept this offering. Right? So I put it in the fire. The smoke starts billowing up. And am I allowed to cuss on this show?
Yes.
Have you met us before?
I shit you not, you're my favorite turd. This eagle, and we give this to Zeus first and foremost because he's the king of the gods. This eagle jumps off a tree about 600 yards away. We're on the cliffside. It swings in off the water and flies into the yard over top of the smoke. It goes through the smoke and over our heads, and then swings back out to the water and flies away.
Oh, wow.
And that's just one of the many things that the gods talk to us constantly. You were like, you do this. I was like, you said you capture it. And no, the goddess has captured us. She tells us what to do, and we are grateful to be able to do it.
Well, don't you find that also having all these every year, or almost every year, I know that you guys have done it at other places. No, has Spring Mysteries always been at Fort Flagler? Okay, so there's a lot of magic there from all these witches and pagans hanging out there all the time. You don't even have to. I mean, if I just went to that place, I would feel that energy, because I know that people who are, and this is what I find awesome, is you've got your muggles on the outskirts walking along on the beach, and because it's a park, it's a right park. It's a state park. Yeah. And we literally, when we create that bubble of magic and where we exist, you can see people from the outside looking in and going, what's going on in there? And it's kind of a cool feeling. So the whole place itself is magical, and how you guys do it sets it up in a way that you really feel it. You live it, you feel it, you eat it, you drink it, you cry it, you poop it out.
Cloud bank completely surrounding the property.
Yeah.
The cloud in the water. There's a lot of years, a cloud bank will completely surround the property, and you can see it through the woods, you can see it in the water because it's on the beach. Yeah. And it's really powerful. But I truly believe that it's the gods we turn it into a looseness. And it's the God. And the fact that we've been doing it there over and over, it does lend power to it. But I've been to a lot of festivals, and I have invoked in a lot of rituals, but I have never experienced deity so powerfully as I do at Spring Mysteries, where the goddess wakes me up at 4:00 in the morning and says, it's time to get out of bed. And I look around and can't find the person talking to me, but they're still talking, you know. It says things that aren't you. And so, I wanted to talk about how we have extra days this year.
Yes,
at Spring Mystery. Originally a day event, and we just squeezed so much into 4 days. It's 4 days of rituals. It's just a lot. So we actually do more rituals than the 4 days. We have days of setting up and rituals that are involved in that, and then we have rituals that take down, because we set up the space to hold the dimensional shift that is New Eleusis, and then we have to take down New Eleusis, set up New Eleusis, take it down, and then we release the land so that it can go back to normal, and the buildings. So this year, for the first time, we're given opportunities for people to come a day early and dedicate to a temple as a devotee, and get to actually be a part of the presentation of the rites as a priest or priestess of a temple, such as I'm trying to think of the priests and priestesses of Pan get to help host the party after Graders, the celebration of Graders, and the priests of Hermes, priests of Hermes, do like cleansing rituals before you go into registration, and they help with registration, and they help officiate rituals and logistics of the rites. So that is fun. And then you get to help set up the shrine and be a part of the temple that invokes the god into the vessel, and see the vessel receive that energy and support the vessel in holding the energy of deity, whichever deity that you're a part of, for the weekend.
They might not know our vessel votary votive terminology, though.
So a vessel is someone who has trained to receive the spirit of deity within their body, get out of the way and let deity possess you, and speak and use your body and be on earth incarnated in flesh for the rites.
The gods walk the earth at Spring Mysteries Festival.
A votary is, did you have a question?
No, go ahead. After you're done, I have something that relates to that, yeah.
A votary is the high priest or high priestess of that temple, who has been a vessel in previous years and carries the wisdom from year to year to year.
And is the head of the temple, basically.
Head of the temple.
Okay.
A votive is somebody who's held has been a vessel in previous years. They've held the gods, but they don't run the temple. They're just a member of the temple as a previous vessel. And a devotee is someone who comes to Spring Mysteries and has dedicated to that god in service.
Okay, and you're talking about terminology. Can you explain, because you're saying lessers and graders, and I know you can't give away too much, but can you kind of explain that to people that are watching that may not know what lessers and graders mean?
So the lesser mysteries are the mysteries of that tell the story, that they reveal the mystery. Okay. It tells the story of the Great Mother and the Holy Daughter, and how everybody knows the story. Hades comes and abducts Persephone and takes her off to the underworld. The Great Mother gets a big upset. Oh my God, where's my kid? Really, really upset, makes winter happen, right? Everybody knows that story. This is the telling of the story in a sacred spiritual way called a psychodrama. Yep. That reveals the mystery in a way that is supposed to trigger certain subconscious responses and things like that, so that it will bring awareness and enlightenment to the viewer.
There were two sets of mysteries. There were the lesser mysteries and the greater mysteries. And the lesser mysteries were split into two parts. There were actually three parts of it. There was the Halidai Misdai, which basically means parade to the sea. It was the first day of cleansing and getting there. The lesser mysteries, which explained what she's saying, and then a greater mysteries, which further went into depth to help people transcend their understanding of life, death, and what happens afterward, and our place and our role within the earth.
And these mysteries were integral to Greek society. They felt that every member of society should go because the things that you learn are so important to living a good life, being a good human being, living in balance and in harmony with the earth and the people around you. And so you're oath bound not to tell what happens during the mysteries.
Mhm.
But you can share that it's about the rights of Eleusis and Demeter and Persephone. You can't say this is what I got out of it. And the reason that you can't is because it would ruin the experience for somebody else. They would come and expect to see what you saw.
Exactly.
It's not what they're supposed to see, and they wouldn't see what you saw, and they wouldn't see what they saw, and so it'd kind of fall flat on them, and they'd miss the whole thing.
They would have preconceived notions of what they're supposed to experience, and you just got to throw them in the water and let them swim, or maybe drown.
And you can't see the greater mysteries the first time you go. That's another thing that we should talk about real quick.
I was going to say that. Yeah, I was gonna say, do you the way you have it set up is you go, if it's your first time going, you go through the lesser mysteries, and that's it. You don't get to go to the greater mysteries until the next year. And I was gonna say, was that set up by the ATC, or do you know if they did that back in the day?
It's not. It is set up as close to the original mysteries as we can get it,
and we're working to do it better every day.
The more we discover, the more we change.
If that's the case, the very first year that it was put on was only the lesser done then?
You know, that was a question that came up today. I went running downstairs and I said, oh my goodness. I wonder when they started graders, because they couldn't have had it all along.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about looking that up and seeing if we could figure it out.
There are people that have been to every single one, and I never even thought of that. But I will find out.
That's a good question.
I'll be right back. My computer's right there. I'm going to go type them out.
So it's funny that my husband thought of that, and yeah.
Yeah, good job. It's an initiatory experience. Go the first year and you receive your first year initiation, and you go the second year and you receive your second year initiation. And if you want to go into the third initiation of the mysteries, that's where you go into becoming a vessel, a votary, a votive. You participate in the Eleusinian priesthood and help present the mysteries. And if you do that for a decade or so, and you become integral to the mysteries and you start helping direct, then you become House of the Amulpidai, and you become part of the high priesthood of the mysteries.
Okay.
We'll find out.
The mysteries just never stop layering themselves. And you just keep finding more and more awareness. I cannot imagine the mysteries that we've lost.
Well,
but it's really fun to rediscover them.
The fact that you guys get to see behind the curtain, because you are holding this, you're presenting it, and the fact that you're still so passionate about it, and like I said, there are people who have gone from the very beginning and they keep coming back. There's obviously some sort of relevance that keeps them coming back, and so I wanted to touch upon that real quick. How do you keep it relevant? How do you keep people coming back? And what have you done in the last year that has made it kind of different and spoke to the world what Demeter's message is? It's
the greatest story ever told. You know, it was is 3,000 years in running now, with a short blip of history where it was not being done in Greece, and then it moved to the Olympic mountain range.
Yeah, from the
It went from Greece and the
Olympics.
Parthenon with the Olympics to the Olympics here. So
Yeah.
obviously, thanks for very fertile land in the Cascadian region right here. But it's like I said, I don't know how much we've lost, but I know how much she reveals to us every year. And I find that every time I hold a role, the deity just speaks to me. And Dusty too, when Dusty holds a role, they reveal so much more that is beyond the ability to share with the story. So many things personally, and so many things that apply to the mysteries. This past year, I was able to hold Demeter, and she just gave me volumes, a lifetime of information about what the mysteries are to her. And she sent me on a mission of fulfilling her duties. And it's kind of cool, because in the mysteries you have Triptolemus and Eumolpus, and Triptolemus is the planting seeds and teaching the external world, where Eumolpus is kind of tending the flock around Eleusis itself. And Cassie and I really serve those functions, where Dusty and I are out doing the work out in the world, and Cassie's getting things done on the home front.
Explain who Cassie is for those who may not know who that is.
Sure. Cassie's the high priestess.
We know who Cassie is.
Cassie's the high priestess of the Mother Church, and she's the executive festival director.
And
so
she's awesome.
She is really awesome. She is the person who runs the mysteries.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, she makes everything happen. I am the spiritual director. I make sure everybody gets out the spiritual experience that they're supposed to get. Dusty is the theatrical director, which helps people really be able to express what the gods are saying through them. Mary Malinsky, the High Maiden of Canada, is our ritual director. She makes sure the ritual has its elements, that it's achieves the goal that it's meant to achieve. And Cassie does the logistics, getting the staff, making sure meals are served on time, making sure it's dark where it's supposed to be dark, and it's light where it's supposed to be light, and there's sound where there's supposed to be sound, and there's quiet where it's supposed to be quiet.
She's the processor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we work together with just open hearts to try to bring forth the goddess's mysteries, and she tells us what she wants to do.
And what was her message for you this year?
Her message is that the earth is in a very unhappy place of imbalance. It is chaos, and all of our systems are breaking down. There's just not anywhere that you can look where you can say, oh, look, this works. The society breakdown, our police, our justice system, our food, our medicine, our schools, our everything. There's not any place that's not broken down. And she said that what you can do is make sure that you have food. Mm-hmm. And the way you make sure that you have food is you grow it yourself, because there's a lot of things that are broken, but if you have good food and you have an abundant supply of it, you're gonna be okay no matter what else happens on the planet. And you can't just start growing food tomorrow. Like it takes time. It has to be a plan. You can't just. So she wants us to live a life where we are aware that she is our mother, and she's tangible, and she's right here with us every day, in there fighting the good fight, trying to provide for our needs. And it's a whole lot easier for her to provide for our needs if we're working in concert with her by planting and growing, because she's the goddess of agriculture.
Well, I saw a movie just recently. It was a wonderful movie. And clink and drink to that. Clink and drink. clink, and drink. Clink, clink, clink. But I saw. Oh, I have to drink. I do the clink. I forgot to drink.
Gotta do both.
What is wrong with me? I saw a movie recently, and it was talking. These two girls, very young girls. Their father died, and it was an apocalyptic movie, and they had to figure out how in today's day and age, they had to figure out how to survive. And their parents left behind these books on planting and herbs and berries and stuff like that they never looked at ever before. And they pulled them up like they were old Encyclopedia Brown books or whatever, and they looked at Britannica. I'm sorry. Isn't Encyclopedia Brown like a...
It's like the cheap.
Anyway, thank you. Encyclopedia. You knew what I was trying to say. Anyway, old books from the 70s, and they. I was a child, but and they figured out how to get berries and plants and survive in this day and age. Like if our electricity went out and everything, and I was thinking about Demeter's message, and it made me really proud to kind of see that in a movie. It was a very independent film, and I'll send it to you later. It was a really good movie, and just see that I thought, oh, we can survive, because these two girls, very young girls, like a 17-year-old and like a 20-year-old. Were able to.
That's not that young.
Well, okay. No, but I think it is.
It's far easier for two young adults like that to make it.
They survived. They survived for a really long time on that, and they started realizing. So, because I'm not going to lie to you, when Demeter's message, when you were bringing Demeter's message and saying we need to plant, I'm an urban girl. Like, I'm a city girl, and I want to be out in the country, but I am so city, and I'm like, I don't grow shit, and I don't, and I'm like, how would I survive this? But we can do it. We can do it
here.
I can do it here in my urban surroundings.
You know, Lola, what's really important about what you just said is that you said you watched a post-apocalyptic movie where there was no food, and these two girls found books that they had never seen, that they had never looked at, and they did not know how to live off the land. They had completely lost the ability to grow their own food, to forage their own food, to find their own food. That's a horror story, but
it is
the truth of where we're at today. Every one of us are there. She told me to grow food, and I was like, are you out of your mind? And she was like, no, you're out of your mind.
No, it's true.
But that is where we're at, and that's why her mysteries are so important. We get further and further and further away from her, and we're like, I feel so empty. I feel so sad. Please show me how to feel closer to deity, how to have purpose in my life. And she's like, I'm right here. I'm right here. Every day, all the time, your whole life, right here with you. And we're like, where? I don't see you. Where? I'm going to go inside. It's cold out here. There's bugs. There's no air conditioning. There's that big, heavy, bright thing in the sky that's burning me, or, whatever.
But it's
dirty.
Yeah, it's dirt. There's bugs. Yeah. But we're able to survive it. I was really glad to see this movie because I thought of that. I was like, and it was a horror movie. It was considered a scary movie because that scares the shit out of people. So it scares the shit out of me. And we think about, oh my God, I won't have internet. Well, how will I? No, it's not that. How will I survive on not being able to go to the grocery store and buy food?
Well, that's the thing is that, people in Venezuela, you're watching the news right now. And if you're watching the world news, you're seeing the people in Venezuela facing 100,000% interest, 1,000,000% interest every day. And there's no food. and children are in the hospital starving to death. And there are droves of people just trying to walk out of that country so that they can have some food.
Yeah.
And there are 70 million people displaced on the planet. There were only 60 million people displaced on the planet 6 months ago. 10 million people is a lot.
Yeah.
60 million people is twice the population of California. So the goddess has been trying to get her message out to us, and she brought her mysteries back at this time for a reason.
Absolutely.
And it's because we've lost information that is at our fingertips, but is just about to not be at our fingertips. And if we lose this information, a lot of people going to die.
So there's a reason why we have the spring mysteries, not only to have those spiritual experiences, but to learn about agriculture, and because it is a Demeter story, it is, and that is what she does. She is agriculture. She is about saving the planet or keeping the planet going, and so I appreciate that you did that.
Yeah, it's about living in harmony with the world around you and your brothers and sisters and within yourself, and you know how to do that. Most of us don't do that. We don't know how to do that. We don't even think about doing that.
No, we don't. So I wanted to talk about this year's Spring Mysteries, the registration, the deadlines, what's going to happen. There's some great things that are going to happen. Can you please tell us about that?
So the deadline for early bird discount registration, which is the lowest you'll be able to get tickets at, ends January 15th. January 15th, huh?
How much is that ticket?